Welcome to a special conversation here at Faith Strong today. I'm Moira Brown. In Ken Burns and Lynn Novick's film, The Vietnam War is described as, quote, a tragedy immeasurable and irredeemable, but meaning can be found in the individual stories of those who lived through it. Well, Kim Phuc is one of the most familiar faces from that terrible chapter of history. 4 decades ago, her excruciating pain was exposed for the whole world to see. But the Napalm Girl does not see herself as a victim of war, but as a global goodwill ambassador, which in fact, Kim, you are for UNESCO.
Thank you, yes.
Can I show your new book?
Yes.
Hot off the press, a memoir of hope. Kim Phan Thi, there's your full name, Fire Road. That would give you the clue right away without seeing the picture, I'm sure. And I love the byline, the Napalm Girl's journey through the horrors of war to faith, forgiveness, and peace. Kim, we've talked in years past, but time has given you the bigger picture of why a loving God would allow a little girl to suffer so much.
Yes.
What a story.
Yes, I believe that. The beginning, when I look at that picture, I wonder, why me? Why the photographer took that moment in time, in a history. It's about me, how ugly, how it's just like a little girl, naked, horrible, agony, running. And I look at that, my brothers, they have the clothes on, and they just run with me. And my cousin, all those
This is
children.
your cousin?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is.
And this is your brother?
2 of them.
Both?
He's older. He's number 5, I'm number 6, and this is number 8.
Okay. We need to say that in your culture, you don't call one another by name, by given name. You're a number.
I'm number 6.
Oh.
Yes. And so that moment when I saw that picture, I say, what happened to me? Why that me?
So singled out.
Yeah. And actually, the first time when I saw that picture, I just didn't like it.
I guess not.
Embarrassed.
You would discover much later.
Yes.
That the clothes you were wearing saved you from more damage.
Exactly. As soon as the napalm touched my clothes, it just burned off my clothes. And of course, the fire still over my body, my flesh.
30% of your body. I want to backtrack just a little because one of the most unexpected, eye-opening aspects of these chapters, your life before the war, before that day, June 8th, 1972, when that napalm was dropped, not by an American plane, but by a South Vietnamese plane hoping to destroy a supply route for the Viet Cong. You had an idyllic, lovely childhood. It was beautiful to read about.
Yes.
Animals. It was almost like living on a farm. Tell us more about it.
Wow. I always smiling and happy when I just thinking about back before the war. What happened about my life? I felt like princess. Every time I went back home from school and I got into the gate of my house, I was so proud of it. How beautiful inside and outside around that, full of animals and wow, a lot of trees. I love guava tree.
And fruit.
And that cow is a fruit. And
growing.
That cow is a 42 guava trees in my garden.
It's guava.
Guava, yeah. And I love to climb on the tree and pick up the guava and eat it and throw it out to my friends. It's just so fun.
And you say your dad was a gentle disciplinarian. Your mom was famous for her noodle soup made in a shop away from home.
She's still favorite.
You made me hungry for that noodle soup.
Thank you.
Sounds so delicious.
What a blessing.
You know, when we see the images of villages destroyed in this war, we may not realize all that was lost of a culture that was sweeter than I could have imagined.
Yes, our village was so safe. And I remember there were so many refugees from another village used to come to our village to stay and spend their life. It's been really safe and riches, and it's so lovely. But then suddenly the war came, and then we lost everything, like everywhere else, the rest of the Vietnam. And
something else I see in your childhood that was a little bit of a surprise. You were quite a devout little girl in your own way.
Yes.
Spiritually seeking to please quite an array of gods.
Yes.
You call it an equal opportunity religion.
Right.
Is it Cao Di?
Cao Dai.
Cao Dai.
Cao Dai. Because I was raised with that religion, I was a fourth generation for that religion. Whatever they name on it, I worshiped. Because actually, 9 years old, I got so much pain, so much scars to deal with, trauma, nightmare. And because of the way they taught me, maybe the life before, I did a bad thing. Now I have to pay back.
Oh.
I have to suffer that way. And I involved in really practicing, devoted so high in that religion. And I was a vegetarian for all those years because they taught me if I eat animals, and then next life, I will become that kind of animals. And I say,
so you eat pork, and next life
I
a
became
pig.
a pig. And I say, no way, I'm a human. I really want to get better life, not just become a pig again and people just kill me and barbecue me.
Not too appealing.
Not that way. And so I involve because of the teaching that way. That's why I scare everything around me. I try to do my best. Like I never use a bad word to speak it out. I never talk about another. I just be so good in order I can be better life, next life, in order I don't have to pay the way that I pay right now from my period life before.
Previous life. So we've got a little bit of an idea of this 9-year-old girl now. June 8th. Tell us what happened on that day.
Wow. I remember as soon as the North Vietnamese soldiers came to knock at the door, and they say to my mom that we want to occupy your house and the village. My mom knew right away the war will come, right? And she was so scared. She really wanted to ask the commander on that group, on that soldiers, and let her move out. But the fact we didn't know where we have to move, evacuated like that, because it's so dangerous if we stay in the house. And then they took for a while. They have to finish their work to dig the tunnel in order to hide there. And then finally, they let us go. And we just thought the temple of Cao Dai temple is a holy place.
Good place to hide.
a safe place.
Safe place.
Then we started slowly, we moved into that temple. Then actually the South Vietnamese soldiers with us in that temple to protect us. Yeah, to protect us. Then we stayed for 3 days in the temple. Then on the third day, I remember very well, we play around the bomb shelter as a children. We're not allowed to play normal like before. And so I played with my cousin who died, 3 years old, my favorite cousin. And then after lunch, of course during the morning time, we heard the burning, one here and another, one place to another, but not inside of the temple area. Not yet, I mean. And so after lunch, then we still playing inside of the temple around the bomb shelter. And so the soldiers, they saw somebody drop the color mark.
It marks the spot they want bombed.
Yes, inside of the temple area. That dedicated the temple was going to be bombed. And so the South Vietnamese soldiers, they yelled for the children to run. Because
Get out of there.
Of course, the children run always faster than another, right? And so I was one of them. But I was a girl, so 9 years old. I not run fast as as my brothers.
Yes.
And then I was in the middle of the between children and adults. Like my mom, my grandma, all the people just follow us with the baby and belongings. And between the people like that on the row number 1, right there, I just got in the front of the temple and I saw the airplane just towards me so fast and so close and so loud. And I still remember I stood right there and I turned my head and I looked at 4 bombs, turning like that. And then I heard the noise, boop, 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 boop. That 4 bombs, explosion like that. Then suddenly, I saw the fire everywhere. Of course, it covered me in the middle of that. And of course, I wear this very light clothes. And as soon as the fire touched my clothes, it just burned off all my clothes. And actually, I saw the fire on my left arm. And I used my right hands. I just tried to wrap it up.
The flames.
The flame.
Right off you.
Yeah, and you can see all this here. I just did it like that, right? And at that moment, I still remember my thought. I thought, oh my goodness, I got burned, and I will become ugly, and people will see me different way. I'm not normal. And that moment, I was so terrified. And then I just tried to get out of that fire. And you know what? I found the first miracle in that moment. In just that moment, my feet weren't burned. So I was able to run out of that fire. And I saw my brothers, my cousin, and some more soldiers there. And we kept running and running together for a while. And then the moment I saw so many people stood on the road and I stopped, it seemed that moment I was so tired already. And I cried out, too hot, too hot. And I remember one soldier gave me some water to drink, and then he tried to help me. He poured water over.
Your back.
Yeah.
I watched this in the Ken Burns film. I watched that soldier
That moment.
pouring the water over you.
He thought he tried to help me, but after he poured the water over me, it means cook more.
It reignites the napalm, the oxygen, right?
Yes, the oxygen react with napalm is mean like I pass out. But I'm so thankful for that, because when I pass out, I didn't feel
the pain.
any pain, and that is go.
Ironically, 1972 was called the Summer of Flames.
Exactly.
Because of all the bombing. Uncle Nick, to you, Nick Ut,
Nick Ut.
the man who captured the picture, and I think the film that I've seen now, he's really a hero in your life.
Exactly. He's so special for me, not only my hero, but also I call him Uncle Ut. He's like part of my family. And
it's because of him that you got to the hospital.
Exactly.
In Saigon.
Because after that, it's, well, when you get into that, you don't understand what that happened. And for me, I just went through unconsciousness, right? I didn't know anything. So from that, I learned a lot of story from Uncle Ut, from Chris Queen, from Mom, from Dad, from doctors, everyone who was there. It's just amazing.
Chris Wren was the BBC reporter, wasn't he?
Yes,
yes.
He's from England.
And another name that I've learned, Horst Fass, the famous German combat photographer.
Yes.
Uncle Ut didn't want to publish this photo because you were
Not
naked.
about him, about in the New York, AP in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was his superior who said, no, you need to send this right away.
Yes.
And you appeared on all the front pages of the newspapers.
Around the world.
And I think it was a huge influence, particularly with the Americans who said enough is enough. Meanwhile, where is little Kim? In the morgue of the Children's Hospital. That's where your family found you.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that story, but I had heard from my mom. After the war, so the road is cut. So the car couldn't move up and down. So for her, she had to walk by feet about 3 days and looking around.
For you?
For me, because they lost me. After the war, with that fire, my family had to return to the temple because they couldn't jump over the fire. And so that's why they missed me, okay? My parents, my adults, just turned back to the temple. They couldn't go through that fire. Anyhow, 3 days, they divided. My mom, this hospital, my father, another hospital. Finally, they found me, yes. And everybody was expecting to take my body back to the village for burial. But now I look back, a miracle happened.
I guess.
And God above, He said, I'm not finished with you, with that little girl. I have the plan for her. You're still alive.
And
you learn.
Years later,
Yes.
science would bring an amazing insight
Exactly.
into what looks like horrible neglect. You must still have been breathing. But
God
the
revealed.
fact that they didn't take the bandages off
Exactly.
saved your life.
Exactly.
The fact that you were wrapped like a body
Yes.
to be buried
Yeah. I just
Because
amazed when God revealed me that way. Even I became Christian for a long time, but that point, it just struggled me all the time. Why they let me be
Leave you
in
to-
the morgue,
yeah.
and why they treat me that way. But you can see another side is a mystery. That 3 days nobody take care of me, that it saved my life.
Again, exposing the burns to
Yes.
oxygen with that napalm
Yeah,
would have created much more damage and destroyed internal organs.
I may die.
Oh, wow. Daily burn baths, 30 minutes of torture, no morphine. For nearly 40 days, you were in critical condition, Kim. Did you have 16 surgeries in this hospital?
Yes,
You would have a 17th in Germany at the age of 21.
yes,
But oh, a divine underpinning that you didn't see for years. We've just given some little hints. In the book, you quote 1 Peter 4, 12 and 13. How appropriate. Peter says, "Dear friends, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal that has come on you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you, but rejoice inasmuch as you participate in the sufferings of Christ, so that you may be overjoyed when his glory is revealed." We don't have glory being revealed yet in your story. In fact, you would come to a place of being suicidal.
yes.
And one of the biggest surprises to me, and maybe I'm jumping ahead a little too quickly, but let me just hold that.
Yes.
It's going to be about the government intervention. But you alluded to this already. You said, my body was weeping its refusal to be soothed, but the worst pain was in my heart. You really felt you were unfit to be loved
Yes.
because of the burns.
Yes. Growing up with that, because of the scar, it's so ugly and so painful.
Pain.
Yeah. And so I thought I never have a boyfriend, never get married, and that's why I never have a normal life. But you know what? I was so wrong.
We can see that already.
Yes, I was so wrong. And wow, I deal with so much nightmare and trauma.
And fear was
And
planted
fear. Yeah, and
because
fear.
of all this. After
Exactly.
we beautiful picture of your childhood, and we've just given you a taste.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fairy tale, the life that you had. And now, I mean, your home was bombed. There's no indoor toilet anymore. Your whole life exploded.
Yes.
For your whole family.
Yes.
And
That's really true.
I'm going to jump to the 10th anniversary of this
Yes,
picture,
of that picture.
because that's when the communist government,
Discover me.
oh my, minders,
Yes, minders.
and manipulators of all of this.
Yes.
I know one of the most painful things, I don't know, maybe I do know actually, they had you hold a baby. What were you, 21, 19?
Yeah, before that.
And projecting to the world, oh, look how well she's doing. She even has a baby.
A girl.
You didn't have a baby.
No.
You weren't married.
I didn't have anyone yet.
And this was the last straw in the broken dream,
Yes.
broken girl's dream of marrying and having a family. You thought, now nobody's going to want me.
Yeah, that hurt me a lot. Yes. When I saw that article, I just cried deep in my heart. How can I feel so much about my scar, ugly and painful, and now on top of that, they talk about that. that I never forgot what they say. Kim with her daughter in 1984. And then, wow, it went wrong. But how can I say? But God just opened the door for me.
What did you say? Your thoughts really craving peace, but you were having fantasies of death. You just didn't see a reason to live.
Yes.
Where did the light come in? Where did hope ignite?
Despite of all the darkness, the anger, the hatred, the bitterness, the loss, it's deep inside of me. I just want to know the purpose of my life. I want to have the answer. Why me? And why I have to become another kind of victim? Where's my dream? What is my future? Why that happened? Why it too much for that little girl?
Yeah.
And then I never give up. Deep down in my heart, I want to have the answer. But where? And then because I couldn't go to school anymore, when the government took away my school, and then
By the way, your dream was to be a pediatrician.
Yes.
You so appreciated the care you'd received. You wanted to help other children.
Yes, that is bothered me so much, and that is a low point in my life. And then I went to the library in Saigon, and I got into the section of religion. I dig into that, and I read so many religious books. And among them, I found the New Testament.
Yay!
Yes, the Bible.
The living and active Word of God.
Praise the Lord. But the fact, in that moment, when I read into John 14:6, and I read loud, Jesus say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come to the Father but by me. And I jump out. I say, ooh, it confused me. Because I was raised in a cow-died religion.
Where five gods have, or leaders of religions have equal standing, don't
so
they?
So many gods that I worship to. But why Jesus say, I am just the one way.
The light.
Yeah. And then I say, which was true? I want to find out. And the fact, the more I read the Bible, the more question I had. Finally, God just slowly opened my eyes, opened my mind, and then into the point that He just prepared everything in His time. I believe so, and strongly about that.
There was a pretty sweet witness in here too.
Yes, and I just right in that time, I was live with my sister, home family in Saigon, and my brother-in-law's cousin. He was a Christian, and he came to visit my family, my sister children, and I was there, and they told me, oh, that uncle,
he's a Christian.
So I just jumped out and said, that is a great opportunity. I can ask him so many questions that I have my own. From reading the Bible, I didn't understand. So I started to ask him all the questions, and that is the point. Finally, I didn't agree with him. And then he invited me to go to the church. And I'm so glad that I went.
You say you feasted. God's promises were like a feast of hope.
Amen. Yes. And from there, that is God started to work to open the door, answer my prayer. Wow. And I remember one day in the backyard of my sister, I looked up from the sky. I asked God, are you real? Do you exist somewhere? Please help me. And that is from deep of my soul, of my heart. I asked God, help me if you are real. And He is so real to me. He appealed. He answered me all the questions that I had before. God not just appeared in my life, but for everyone who's seeking Him with the true, with the from all your heart, you will see Him for sure.
A good grounding. But you were in many ways a prisoner of this photo.
Yes.
Because the communists wouldn't leave you alone.
No.
And they seemed to cut you off at the pass with everything. You couldn't get an education. You were yanked out of school all the time. Yes. How did you get to Cuba?
Well, I believe in the middle of trial that even I became Christian already in Christmas 1982. Mm-hmm. And that is a really turning point in my life. Mm-hmm. And I started to pray. I remember whatever my determination was, I stopped pray to many gods as before. I just only one God, is a true God and a great God. I pray only one, our Heavenly Father, help me. And all is at the end in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. And He answered me as His promise. And then from there, I pray for wisdom. I pray for peace. I pray for joy. I pray for forgiveness. All this will come along to me in His time. I learned how to be patient all the time. I just pray and then come along, answer prayer. It's just so beautiful.
Sochi, Russia, a utopia of treatment, sulfur baths. But then Cuba. That was kind of a surprise, I have to say, in the story.
Yes.
If I knew that, I had forgotten.
I think it's you surprised, but God not surprised.
No, of course not.
I didn't understand neither why I stay in Cuba for that long. But why Cuba? As soon as my trip back from Germany for my last operation in 1984, God opened the door for me, and I have opportunity to meet the Prime Minister Pham Van Dong.
Yes, of Vietnam.
Of Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's for me, I have no idea. How can I meet Prime Minister? It's with like I'm ordinary girl and suffering that way. But then God just blessed me before Him.
He was so fatherly.
Yes,
wasn't he?
He as soon as I share my story about the article, it almost ruined my life. That told
you with
me.
The baby.
Yes.
Yeah, not this one. The picture with the baby.
Yes, he saw that and he laughed. And then after that, it's a good time to tell him the serious problem that I had, that I didn't have school to go. They cut off. And what can I do? And then he really tender heart and lovely, that is I saw he cry. And he feels so sympathy with my pain that I go through. And he has his own struggle. It's similar like that. And I think he just adopted me.
He did, and he found a brilliant compromise because Cuba is communist, and you could get away from these manipulating You still had minders in Cuba, though, didn't you?
Yes.
But God had
The plan.
the plan and probably, well, not probably, the best blessing in Cuba was your husband.
I count that a blessing with all the 6 years in Cuba, how much I went through. But then the best thing that happened, God brought my future husband into my life, that he really supportive and lovingly and pray for me.
Now, spiritually, it was a challenge at first. Marxist evolutionist background
I know.
from North Vietnam,
Right.
but that didn't create a problem.
No.
Not
I just really trust the Lord. Okay, about my marriage is really unusual.
Yep.
Absolutely.
and especially the honeymoon.
Yes. But I look back, I can see God put every single pieces into my picture, be complete, beautiful picture that is a come from my heart. I just trust and obey Him. In that situation, I have no choice. In that time, there's the right time to get married and to get out of Cuba and to Moscow, and on the way back.
Oh, wait. Okay, we got to bring you up to speed here. October 1992, you were married.
No, that is the day I stay in Canada.
Okay.
Our wedding anniversary is September 11th.
Oh, wow.
But in 1992.
Okay, I've got the right year. So the month before, and then
Yeah,
they were only going to provide a honeymoon for one. Who even heard of such a thing? So somehow you both managed to go to Moscow for 19 days or something?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And then on the way back, there was a little conflict in this brand new marriage because you had a vision. You were not going to go back to all that manipulation and a life robbed of true freedom.
Yes.
You wanted to defect.
Yes. My dream for a long time, I want to have freedom. And but I scared to death to share.
It's scary.
It's scary because if I say something, my life getting worse. If nothing better for me, I pray deep down. I just walk by faith, no other way. Yeah, and I trust that God, He listened to my prayer, and I just trust in His time. And that is the right time to get married and to get out. And then I didn't share with my husband about my dream because
Until you were on the plane.
Yes.
Until you were almost in Newfoundland.
Yes.
And then there was a little bit of a tug of war right there in Gander.
There, yes.
But you talked him into it.
Yes. During a few hours from Moscow to Gander, I just pray ahead of. I pray that Lord just bless me before my new husband in order to explain that he can understand me, my dream, that I don't want to go back to Cuba or Vietnam anymore.
And this would mean leaving everything back in Cuba.
Exactly.
Your husband had bought a lot of things that expensive things that he hoped to sell back in Cuba. It was walking away from all that you knew.
Yes.
And your husband's not a believer yet in Jesus Christ.
No.
You've got the faith. He's got the resistance. But you talked him into it.
Yes.
You did not get back on that plane. And I'm just blessed to pieces to read how embracing Canada was, how we helped you.
Yes, I'm so thankful.
To make a new life.
The rest of my life, I'm so thankful to Canada that opened the door for us to step in with a new life and just the right time. This is a miracle because just me, I just walk by faith. I got into that story is a really drama, but
so much,
I love it. I love that story.
The government provided free transportation to Toronto.
Yes.
all the international refugees were warmly welcomed at that time. You would end up getting room service in a hotel, a ride to church.
That we didn't know at all. We didn't know even 1 hour of, after that what happened. We didn't know it. And when 2 weeks in Gander, I was so happy, relaxing. I know that I have freedom, and I will have everything because I have faith. I got into living in the Bible that Jesus say in Matthew 17:20, if you have the faith as a mustard seed, you can move the mountain. And everything, is...
That's wow. Persevering faith.
I got that. I'm so thankful. I live with that. And so God opened the door for me in that time. But my husband, he seemed like he lost control. He couldn't believe in himself anymore. He just wondered, how can I do with the new country, new culture, no money, no
Not
friend.
allowed to work till you become citizens.
Exactly. How can we survive? And he couldn't sleep for 1 week and struggled with that. But he looked at me. I prayed, relaxed, happy, a smile all the time. All this is so opposite of him, right? And at the end, I never forgot that question he asking me, Kim, I want to know about your God.
I want the peace that you have.
Yes. And that moment I say, yes, my God is Jesus Christ. He died on the cross. He paid for my all sins. And he set me free from hatred. He healed my heart. He let me move on. He made the heaven on earth for me. And you see that, a part of it. Now you married me, and you can see very close. God is so real to me. And that 1 month later, my husband converted to...
Came to know Jesus, too.
Yeah, he came to know Jesus Christ. And my husband before, she's smoking and drinking, and his hair even longer than me now. But then the day he got saved, next day he quit all of that. And
no addictions?
Now, no more. And 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And after that, wow, it's God just step by step answer my prayer. And now it's just amazing.
I have to be honest with you, for you, because just thinking about the atrocities, just thinking about the pain you always live with.
Yes.
In spite of your laser surgeries now, how many? 10?
10 times.
Wonderful
already.
Christian doctor in Florida.
Dr. Jill Weibel.
Just incredible. But it's still, you'll never not think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just always with you.
Right. Like before, it's a wonderful how God helped me to change my heart and change my attitude.
Yeah, I want to butt in there. Can I butt in there?
Okay.
Because you make it sound almost instantaneous. With Jesus would come the peace and the power to forgive. But you talk about black sludge in your heart. You talk about the enemies list that you made.
Yes.
And you at one point thought Christianity was too hard. You could not do this forgiveness thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a process, Kim.
Yes, it's at the beginning I thought, no way, Jose.
That's pretty honest.
I say, how can I forgive and love my enemies who caused my suffering too much for that little girl and then teenager and then adults, so much, because both, I got physical pain and then emotional pain, inside and outside. And then I'm a human being. Forgiveness for me, it was impossible. And then the only one way for me, I thought, okay, I have choices. I have to change my heart or die from hatred. And in order to be free, I need to learn to forgive. But impossible for me.
You say God is the only dislodger of the black sludge.
Exactly. Yeah. And I say, how? But then I pray, God, you are so real to me and so me. How can I do with that? How can I do the impossible thing in my life? You have the power. You forgive my sins. You love me. And then you forgive me. Then, now, that picture is back in my mind. Jesus, when they nailed him on the cross, and he prayed, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And I say, wow, that is a great picture. All the people, they did it to me. They didn't know what they're doing. They hurt a little girl. They hurt me. All this a different time from I was 9 and then 19. And now how can I do with, okay, Lord, help me. I forgive. And I just repeat what Jesus said. They didn't know what they're doing. And then I started to learn 1, 2, 3, 4 points that I have to practice.
What did you do?
I always imagine in my head with the picture, the black coffee. You see the black coffee cup? I always imagine that. The black coffee cup is my heart. It's exactly like my heart being that way.
Full of bitterness and
anger,
unforgiveness,
hopelessness. All is a negative. You can imagine it negative. And the black coffee, not the milk coffee.
The sludge.
And how can I do with that? If I just keep that still, it stay there forever. But I have to do something. Yes, I pray, but the fact I have to action. I have to do something. So I started to pour out that black coffee. It means like I poured out my hate a little bit at a time, every single day, until my cup was empty. And I feel like, wow, the first I started just fill up again. It was so hard.
To really be free of those feelings.
It's not easy. It's the beginning. But I discipline myself. I live with 3 Ds. Desire, determination, and discipline.
Desire, determination, and discipline.
Combined together. I have the desire to free from hatred. And I have to determinate. I have to do it. And then I have to discipline to do it more often and every single day.
How long did it take
it's
to have a heart
time.
that was free?
Long time.
Yeah.
It's no time to count. But I just discipline myself to do it. Every single day I do it. Pour out my hate a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time.
So you would lighten that load every day by
Yes.
an act of your will.
Exactly that. And then until at the end, my cup was empty.
Nothing to pour out.
No more. And then that is the moment God, by His grace, His mercy, and His love, He just refilled my cup with light, with love, compassion, understanding, patience, joy, and forgiveness. All of that by doing what? Yes. Practicing.
You made more room for the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness,
pray,
and so on.
Yes, I pray and I just read the Bible and He fill up by doing, practicing, I need to practice patiently. In that, I list all the name of the people who caused my suffering, includes everyone, even though I don't know their name.
Their names.
But I list all of the name who dropped the bomb, who involved in that, who controlling me, who cut off my study, all of them in the prayer list. And I started to pray for each of them every single day. Instead, wow.
So instead of cursing them,
Exactly.
you were praying God's blessing on them.
Exactly.
That's enemy love. Yeah.
And finally I realized that, wow, I love my enemies enough to pray for them. Because you know what? You can give without love. But when you love, you cannot without giving. I love them. I pray for them.
This is a supernatural miracle that you can't know is true
I trust
until
Him.
you
He did it.
obey God.
Yes. And that's why I pray. And finally I say, wow, Kim, the more I pray for my enemies, the softer my heart became. Finally, I can see, wow, all the black coffee, all my hate is out. And now it's pure with those beautiful, and changed my attitude, and changed my life. And I say, I got it. I got it. And it's heaven on earth for me. And I'm free from hatred. Wow, my heart is healed.
And what a perfect preparation. The right kind of...
Yes. And the fact, look, how I look at my scars.
Yes, because for so long you hid them.
I look at my scar and I hated it. I used to compare my scar with buffalo skin.
Yeah, that's how you write about it, buffalo skin.
Because it's buffalo skin have the hair and black, but it's so smooth, so beautiful. And my scar is no hair, rough. And it's just awful when I see that. You know, why I have to wear that scar? And now, I thank God. It changed my attitude. I look at my scar. I love it. I love it so much. And you know why? Because in my heart, I'm so thankful that scar that I wear is remind me God with me all the time. He make me humble. He make me to love another people who suffer like me. Yes. And I was the one of them. They still need hope. They still need to heal. They still need to know the truth in their life so they can have a joy and peace and hope and forgiveness like that little girl growing up like me. And then everything I do right now, I was so humble myself because I know that it's not about me, but about God, about Him. He created me. He has a plan for me. He changed my heart. He healed my heart. And this is remind me. And you know what? Before, every time the pain comes to me, like torment, I run to the Lord. I pray. The more I have pain, the more I pray. And the more I pray, the more peace I had. You can see that is a circle. It's helped me to be thankful, to be alive, to learn, and to give back to the people, and especially for children. Because I just 9 years old. I just the same like all the children around the world who suffer even now. And so I just feel like God had a plan for me. And my mission my action, my thought is just, I just trust and obey.
Our viewers don't know some of all of the miracles that are part of the chapters in this book. That 9-year-old girl was robbed of the hope of becoming a parent. You didn't think you'd be able to have children.
Wow. That's
You're the mother of 2
miracle.
boys,
Beautiful.
Thomas and Stephen.
Handsome.
How old are they today?
Now my Thomas, 23, he got married.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he has a son. His name Kalel.
You are a grandmother.
And I'm really proud of a new grandmother.
And Stephen?
Stephen, 20.
20. And for 10 years, what's Stephen doing? He's 20, still
He's
single.
In school.
School.
He
Now-
studied in Bible college.
I read about you having Bible studies in your home. Everybody is involved.
Yes.
For 10 years, you prayed for your estranged parents.
Yes.
When you chose Christ, they cut you off.
Yes, that's true.
But tell us about your parents and your in-laws today.
Yes, since they rejected me because I turned my back to their religion, and my mom was very strong, and I know that she loved me so much as a mother, right? She still loved me, but in different way. So happy now. So every time I came back to visit her, she knew I was different, not the same faith anymore in Cao Dai. And she say, Kim, you believe in your God take care of you. I don't want to give you any more money. And that moment, I just, quiet, frozen. But I didn't cry before her. I didn't say anything, but I went back to Saigon. I cried to God. And I knew that it's a big persecution come along. And I started to trust the Lord in His promises. He took care of me. When I just opened the Bible in Matthew 6 chapter, I read, and then God just provide that, and I stood on the promises. And I started to, of course I didn't left them forever, but I come back to visit, and I say to my mom, Mommy, I became Christian because Jesus loved me. I was in Cao Dai. I worship, but no one answered my prayer. No one healed my heart. And you love me, and you cry with me with all of my suffering. You know that, but you cannot give me peace and joy. Only one Jesus, give it to me. I don't want to lose that. Then since that moment, I started to pray for my mom and dad, my entire family. And I never asked God when, but I just slowly, patiently, every day I pass, I know that my answer prayer come closer. I prayed 22 years, my entire family got saved and serving the Lord as well.
And your husband
And my husband and my children.
was able to lead his loved ones to
and
Christ.
his family.
Just incredible.
Half of his family got saved as well.
Parents.
My father-in-law, my uncle-in-law, my sister-in-law got saved. And it's so
many things,
wonderful
Kim.
that God answered my prayer.
And they're here. Your parents are here.
Yes.
Dad's in a nursing home now, but Mom is with you. Your dream of being a pediatrician was lost, but you are such an activist for children who've been victimized by war. Kim Foundation International is a nonprofit I wish we had time for all the stories. Queen Elizabeth spent 5 minutes talking to you. That's unheard of. The Grand Duke and Duchess of Luxembourg, I don't know if they've come to Christ, but you sure gave them an earful. You were on Richard Branson's private Caribbean island with a select audience of 50 world leaders. And what was your theme? The power of forgiveness and gratitude. That scarring has opened
The door.
incredible doors
Exactly.
for the message of Christ. You embody it. You beam it
Thank you.
wherever the Lord takes you.
Yes.
What was the reaction on that Caribbean island? I think it's called Necker Island.
Necker Island.
Yeah. How did they receive your message of the importance of forgiveness?
They just so thankful that, because of course everyone know my picture, and everyone wonder what happening to that little girl. And when they saw me in the real, they
Kim.
couldn't believe it that it is come true.
The
that
outcome.
Even I met Sir Richard Branson.
Yeah, he is Sir Richard now,
Yes,
isn't he?
he is, yes. And so he said to me, Kim, your picture haunting me all my life. We have a good time. We would good talk. And as soon as I saw your picture, I ran into the embassy. I just, against war. I don't believe that.
Person of influence.
Yes.
You say in your book, and this is very poignant, and we're certainly coming to the end of our time, we're all children of war.
Yes.
We're all in a battle of darkness and light. And you really are the poster girl for the truth that Jesus can bring blessings out of brokenness.
Yes.
It took you time to be able to embrace that.
Yes.
But now you're bringing that hope to people all over the world, Kim. You have been for years, but this book, this is going to be a bestseller.
Thank you. I pray for that, because that is a memo of hope. I believe that everyone who lives in this earth needs to have hope. If you don't have hope, your life is just nothing. We need to live with hope. Even today in Las Vegas, people killing people. Why they did that? They make another victim, another people suffer. My heart to them.
The worst mass shooting in American history.
I pray for them.
Most deadly.
That, look, I suffer different time, different places.
And the memories.
Yes.
Where to put those memories.
Exactly. But now that happened to them today. But I just speak it loud. That little girl have hope. So you can have hope too. God bless you. And God love you. God is love. People, even they make the conflict. They kill each other. They hate each other. But God is love. God mercy. If you come to Him with all your heart, you trust Him, and He will do that. He will make your life as a real and new creature, like He did it to me. He has done in my life. And so, God bless you. I love you, and God loves you.
This has been just as special as we anticipated.
Thank you.
Kim Phuc Phan Thi,
Thank you.
Fire Road, the story you may not know. And believe me, we just scraped the icing from some of these chapters. The Napalm Girl's journey through the horrors of war to faith, forgiveness, and peace could be the vehicle to help you through some black sludge, some of that black coffee that doesn't bring anything but self-destruction. Hope for you in these pages. And by the way, you can find Kim online at kimfoundation.com. 6 honorary doctorates. You know, that's just too cute. That, you know, you kept getting yanked out of school. You couldn't even get your ESL diploma. Of course, you had a baby that day instead. But God, 6 honorary doctorates.
Thank you.
I know at one point your kids would call you doctor. We just celebrate God's work in your life. And we'd like your comments below. Please feel free to let us know what you think. And you can send us an email too. hello@faithstrongtoday.com.